From WFRV TV, Local 5, serving Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Fox Cities, and the Lakeshore. This is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us for Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. Well, like most communities, Green Bay's got a homeless problem, and many of those communities are finding ways to combat that problem, and so it is here in Green Bay. And joining us this morning to talk about this is Peter Silsky to my immediate right and Jeremy Pingle. They are two leaders of Green Bay's homeless response team. Both of you, good morning. Good to see you here this morning.
Good morning, Tom.
Green Bay's homeless response team. I don't know that a whole lot of people out there know that such a thing even exists. Where did it start? How did it start?
I'm going to let you take that one. Yeah.
Green Bay's, the HRT team is actually led by GBPD, and it was created in a way that for a lot of our calls that were coming in that are non-emergency calls, that the individuals just need some help, maybe with essential needs, some resource navigation. It was a way that the administration could be contacted, and then we could route that call and field it to the correct office and go out there and meet it in a non-emergency way. So that way the behavioral health team from the police are involved, St. John's Outreach, the city has us, the homeless outreach case coordinators, and we can choose and go out and respond to it and provide simple resource navigation and transportation if necessary to essential basic needs.
Your backgrounds, both of you, how did you get involved in this?
So I've been in the nonprofit world for many, many years, mainly working with the service provider end of it, thrift stores. Most recently was with food pantry, a great food pantry in Neenah. I came to this position out of my other background with psychology and working with folks that have been through some tough times and trying to connect resources. I had some issues as a child. Had a bullied background and came through some time, so I can see myself kind of falling into positions that some of these folks have been in. So as I kind of worked on myself, came through that, I wanted to give back and try to provide paths and resources for other people.
Peter?
Yeah,
Your background, how did you get involved?
I myself have experienced homelessness in my past. For about 26 years, I was in active addiction, substance misuse disorder. I received treatment at Jackie Nitschke Center about 6 years ago, and that put me on the path towards seeing how my life experiences could benefit others. And in that process of recovery, I became a recovery coach, a peer support specialist. I worked as an operations manager with Manna for Life, serving the less fortunate, helping run a food pantry as well. And by having that experience as a recovery coach and going into our emergency rooms for patients who came in who had experienced overdose or detox symptoms and providing that resource navigation, I'd really be able to utilize those skills in this position and provide that overall resource navigation for these individuals and meet them where they are.
Yeah.
I'm a peer, I've been there,
So you were homeless.
Correct.
How long were you homeless?
Off and on through my active addiction was 26 years. Yeah, I was homeless in Flint, Michigan, San Francisco, and had to navigate that life journey during that time.
So you know of which you speak.
Yes. I know how turbulent the life can be and how
people.
waking up, on the side of the street and having places to go to get a shower and having to transverse and to go and get your next meal. Yeah.
How big of a problem do we have here in Green Bay, homeless problem?
It's growing. Nationally, last year, homelessness, it grew 18%, just over 18%.
In Green Bay?
Nationally, that's a national number. Our last count, we do a PIT count. It's a point-in-time count. We do that twice a year, January and July. The last number was over 600, close to 700 folks were either homeless or in a transitional housing program. Yeah, it's a problem. There's a lot of folks suffering.
What do we consider homeless?
There's categories to homelessness. I mean, category 1 homelessness is living unsheltered. I believe category 2 is once they have located a shelter situation. Yeah, for us, our folks that we're dealing with are the most vulnerable of the chronically homeless, and these will be mostly individuals who are living unsheltered, potentially under our bridges, in our parks, on the side of the sidewalk.
Green Bay's homeless problem. We have much more to come right after this, so please stay right there. Back now on Newsmaker Sunday, our guests this morning, Peter Silsky and Jeremy Pingle, leaders from Green Bay's homeless response team. You know, we hear complaints about people staying in the park, let's say St. John's Park. Are those folks there by choice or because they have no other place to go?
So the shelter season ends at the end of April.
Right.
That's when the shelter closes. So these folks really have nowhere else, no options. Now that's where we can come in and offer resource navigation. If we're struggling with some substance use disorder, if we have mental health struggles, we're there to help provide that path, as well as offer other sources of support, food pantries, laundry, hygiene, all that sort of thing. And the big one for us is housing. So we get on the housing train.
Do you guys go out to the parks, under the bridges, in the woods to make face-to-face contact with these folks?
Absolutely.
You
yes,
do?
yes.
Okay. What is that conversation like? I mean, you walk into the woods and here's a tent or whatever, and you see a person. You walk up to the person. What do you do? What do you say? Are they standoffish? Are they worried? Are they scared?
They can be. They
think
can be a
they're
little
the law?
standoffish, but it's all about building trust because we're not there to judge. We're not there to assume. We're there to help. So we really focus on building a relationship with that person. Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm a homeless outreach case coordinator for the city of Green Bay. Yeah. I'm here to help. What can we do? And that's as simple as it gets. But yeah, we're under bridges. We're in the parks and the woods everywhere.
And part of that, I think, is the stigma of homelessness and
Right.
with the unsheltered. At the end of the day, these are people who are experiencing some issues, some challenges, and have some barriers to their rehousing, and we're there to help. And most of them are very friendly and easy to communicate with. And the other ones who aren't, we build up that relationship and come and visit them often.
Yep.
Now, Jeremy, you talked about providing resources.
Yep.
Okay, so you tell this homeless person who's in the woods somewhere,
Yep.
we have these wonderful resources. And the homeless person goes, great, how do I get there?
Yep. So the city of Green Bay has some great resources on top of that. We have provided transportation, but there is some of the city buses do operate free through the city to locations that these people need to get to. So yeah.
And the city has enabled us and empowered us to go out there, meet them where they are, provide client-based care, and then provide transportation so we can do a warm handoff with these resources. We have many great agencies and organizations in the Green Bay area that are there to serve the less fortunate, and we provide transport for that.
I would imagine you encounter two different groups when you offer resources. One, a group that's thankful, and another group that is too proud to take any help.
I don't know about too proud. Sometimes yes, but I think we deal with folks that just don't know what that next step is. They just don't know how to. I'm in this position. I don't know what the next step to get out of it is. And then there's another step that they're struggling with some mental health, some substance abuse, and they don't have the trust. They don't understand the position that they're in and how to move on. So that's the kind of folks that we have to spend a little additional time with, really getting in and figuring out how we can work with them to get them into the right path. Housing might not be the first step for them. We might first have to get to a treatment facility. You know, that's
behavioral health,
yeah.
And going out to Willow Creek or Bell Psych. And I would say that the individuals who are resistant, it's usually a mental health concern, or mental health is in play.
You'll know this better than anybody. Why are people there? How did they get there?
There's numerous reasons why, and actually in today's age, we're starting to see more elderly and disabled find themselves in this position due to the fact of having a health condition, going into the hospitals for a period of time and losing almost everything they have while they're in there, and then being exited to our shelter systems. And our shelters now have to be a support to them. So there's a lot of different things in play as to why someone can find themselves homeless and unsheltered.
You mentioned the elderly. Are we also talking not only adults, are we talking kids here as well? Young kids?
We do come in contact with families and teenagers that are with families with young kids that just there's things happen. They had a limited income and the rent increased on their property and they just couldn't stay there anymore. And they're out, so we connect them with resources. I think that's a struggle. Back to the elderly piece, we're working with these folks that are coming out and they've worked their whole lives. They've worked and then they go into the hospital that maybe a spouse has passed away, no children, they're alone, and they lose their apartment, their sources of income, and they're dropped off at the shelter when they're recovered, and they've not been homeless. Maybe they lost their IDs and their Social Security, so we have to start over, kind of teach them how to be homeless and then navigate that resource.
Oh, what a situation.
Yeah.
Much more to come. Green Bay's homeless response team. Please stay with us. On this Newsmaker Sunday, we are joined by Peter Silsky and Jeremy Pingle of the Green Bay Homeless Response Team. Your organization, not quite a year old as we tape this program today. Has it evolved? Is it what you expected it would be?
Yeah, it's everything that I thought it would be. I believe it was a pilot program started by the city of Green Bay in response to this homelessness issue. A brand new position tasked with dealing with the most vulnerable of our chronically homeless. That would be elderly, disabled individuals who have been unhoused for 18 months or longer. And yeah, I would say it's lived up to everything that I thought it might be. And it's been very much, I greatly value being of service in this way and being able to help in these lives and help them achieve progress towards their goal of rehousing.
All right, so Peter is obviously a success story. Do you have success stories in this year where you've encountered people and kind of put them back up on their feet?
I mean, just in this past week, we've got 2 people that are moving into homes that have vastly different stories, but that have been unhoused for some time or were very, very vulnerable elderly folks that were not able to navigate this. But we've got 10 or 11, 12 others that through the time that this program has existed have been in-housed. Again, housing's just part of that. We've also successfully gotten people into treatment programs that are currently completing those. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good things happening from this position, this team.
In this role, we've been tasked to bridge the gap between services, between agencies. As I said, Green Bay has many great agencies and organizations dedicated to helping the less fortunate in many different ways, and we've been tasked with bridging the gap between those agencies and the client. And I think that has been pretty successful.
Yeah.
What's your biggest challenge? You wake up in the morning and you go, oh boy, this is what we're facing today.
Time. I mean, wish there was more time. We could spend more time with more people. And then just sometimes that mental health aspect, that if somebody's really struggling, getting them to the right services and convincing them that where they are there's better things ahead if we just make this step.
Yeah. The response team, is it just you 2 guys? Is there a group? Do you have more people?
Oh, yeah. The homeless response team consists of the Green Bay PD, the behavioral health team from GBPD, as well as the outreach from St. John's. I believe the Mandolin Foundation takes part in it as well. We do. New Cap is in there. And it's basically, it's an email response that goes out to all of the outreach workers and makes us aware of a person who's having a crisis, and so we can respond to it and go and meet them where they are and provide services. So it's a community-wide organization or team that's been tasked with going out and helping.
If people want to work with you, are there qualifications that they have to meet? Do you have a selection process, or is it just you guys and that's
It's
it?
just us guys. It's just us
you.
two, and then we work with all those other service providers in the area. We just connect. We connect with those really important service providers that have the payoff that we're looking for.
Yeah. You mentioned mental health. How big of a problem does mental health pose in your dealings, your daily dealings with homeless people?
Most of it.
Yeah, I would say it's prevalent in a lot of cases. And when you're speaking to mental health, I mean substance misuse disorder is under that mental health. So dealing with that as well as dual diagnosis and co-occurring conditions, many of our clients and many of these individuals in need suffer from those issues and need to be taken to those resources and given proper care.
And I know
a long way.
we've got teenage kids out there too, right? Some of them do what they call couch surfing.
Yeah.
How do these kids go to school? How do they make it day to day? How do they eat? How do they go to class? How do they study? How do they get through when they don't have mom and dad to go home to?
That's a real struggle. There's a couple of mentor agencies in this community that do a lot of really good work. Those folks are supportive, and they provide some of that missing mentorship, some of that stuff that isn't getting through, that's really pushing those folks.
I know in most school districts now that they do have workers assigned to help in those cases and provide connection to the resources
School
that we're
counselors
speaking
and,
on. We have great agencies
social
in our
workers.
city.
Yep.
We are back to wrap up right after this. The Homeless Response Team. Stay with us. We are back now with leaders of the Green Bay Homeless Response Team. People who are homeless, what do they need most to turn their lives around?
Housing.
That's the start, because from there you can get the job and the counseling.
And we can get in-home health
Yep.
involved in many cases, as we were speaking with the behavioral health aspect and the mental health. Yes, housing.
The instability on the street is not conducive to bettering their lives. So,
And no program is successful, obviously, without help from the community. How are you funded? Do you know how it's funded? Is it through the police department? Is it community donations? How does this work?
Our particular positions are funded through a grant that was issued a couple years ago, and it's like Peter said, it's a pilot, and other larger cities are successful with programs like this. So Green Bay noticed as those numbers were increasing that they really wanted to address and help, and so our positions were created.
Can people who are watching this program today help you?
We really ask those folks to support some of these other smaller agencies that we really rely on. That would be probably what could help us the most. Also, stigmatizing the homeless, it's an individual, it's not a group. So we ask that. But some of those smaller organizations that really in this community that are great, please consider donating, spending some time, volunteering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, as you said, understanding that in some situations, if you have a negative interaction with the person who's experiencing homelessness, maybe you don't like the behavior, but try to show some kindness to the person. They might not be having the easiest life at that moment, having woken up in the park and then having to go about their day. But definitely, if they support their local agencies, local nonprofits, as Green Bay does, I believe we can see a lot of successful change in our community.
Are there homeless people out there who know you guys? Like, no, here comes Peter, here comes Jeremy.
Actually, if you look at some of the city statistics, a couple years ago, the violent crimes in some of those areas were up. But as the city's addressed that and we've come in, I think it gives a sense of hope. And even if we can't support that individual at that moment, they know that somebody's out there that's going to be or that can that's putting time and effort into this. I think the attitude is changed a little bit, and yeah, I think that's really important.
When I first started, I had to go out and meet these individuals. Now when we step into the park, a lot of individuals come to us for guidance and resource navigation. So they're starting to come to us.
Yep.
I got about 30 seconds here. Tomorrow morning, what are you going to do? What do you guys do? What's your job?
I walk into the park and talk to the folks that I'm working with, and if anybody else needs support, and then I go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to make my calls, contact the people I can who do have access to a phone, and see how they made it through the night, what essentials they're going to need to make it through the weekend, and then go underneath the bridges out into the parks, as well as answer any referrals.
You're under the bridges and in the parks. I mean, you guys are literally saving people's lives.
Well, thank you.
Well, the city has enabled us to
Yeah.
do that, and the city of Green Bay cares about its community. So glad to be a part of that.
Very much so.
Doing great work, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
And if you have a newsmaker in your town who you think we should have on this program, let us know about it. Send us an email to tips@wearegreenbay.com, or you can message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us once again Sunday morning at 7:30. Until then, have a great day.